Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Praise Arrow podcast. So today I just wanted to do a sort of chill episode where I do some sharing about how my month went. So we are practically at the end of March, and it's been quite an eventful month for me. So starting from the podcast, I've been exploring different content forms, and I started creating more shorts, so clips from the long form podcast to help a wider audience easily find and connect with what we do here on the podcast. So apart from making shorts, I've also been trying different video styles. So we have the long form videos, which are interview videos, nearing about an hour, 45 minutes. And then you have the shorter ones, 20 minutes, some 10 minutes long. And just seeing the kind of feedback that I get, what's useful to you, what you really find not just interesting, but applicable. This is just me saying I would really appreciate your feedback on the sort of content that you find most practical, as that will help me to redirect my energy and re-strategize as well. So this has all been fun. I've learned a lot over the past month about editing, creating. I've watched a ton of videos about how to create content for YouTube, how to restructure the content I put out on my podcast as well. And I've had help from some really amazing people as well. Encouragement, criticism, that's all been great. By the way, if you like and appreciate the content that you see on this channel, please do subscribe and hit that notification button so you get an alert every single time a new video is out. So aside from the podcast, I've also been doing a lot of reading, personal research, and a lot of ideas have been popping up in my mind. And this is not just related to content creations, about business, so many areas of life. That got a little bit confusing. If you have been watching my shorts and also the long form videos, you will find that I talk about focusing on what it is that you truly want to do, and about how it's easy to get pulled in a lot of directions. So I've experienced that over and over again, which is why I speak about it so passionately. It occurred again this month. So every time I pick up a book to read, and every time I dedicate time to research and, just watching lots of videos, trying to learn, I get a lot of ideas, each one seeming very feasible and valuable. So they all look like they're worth pursuing. Now, the problem is I'm one person and I have limited time and resources. So I've had to really choose. I've had to decide what I should focus on. And that has not been easy exactly this month. What happens is when an idea comes to mind, I immediately start to do a lot of research on, not a lot of research, some research on maybe why it's a good idea, who's doing something like that, and what are the resources that would be required to do it, just to know if it's within my capacity at all. And that in itself takes a lot of time. So that's happened so often this month. And I've done that sort of research, I don't know how many times. It's fun, actually. I enjoy the rush of adrenaline that comes with the ideation process, just writing out different possible routes that you can take, as well as the planning process. The thing is, that process itself has become sort of addicting, and I always have to pull myself out of that stage and get to the action phase, because it's easy to just stay there and ideate for the rest of your life. I think sometimes that on teams I would be a great ideator, but not the best executor. I mean, I'm fine with execution. I'm just not the best. If I could delegate it, I would, and spend more of my time ideating, then have someone filter the ideas and go like, okay, no, this is not doable for now, and all of that. But I just get to do the fun stuff. But anyway, that's on the team. Now, in my life, I have to decide which tasks I'm going to execute on. So to help myself focus, I've had to re-clarify what my priorities are. My major priority is music. So some of you might know that I have another channel, which is my music channel. The first channel actually is a lot older than this one. And recently I looked at it and I was like, oh, you poor thing. My frequency of posting, it just was not great. It doesn't mean I should have a new music piece out there every other day, but I felt that I haven't given enough space to that, considering that it is what I would consider a priority. And that led me to do some replanning and reorganizing of my time again. And I had this conversation with my accountability partner. I think sometimes we get caught up in all these other small things, and they're exciting, they're fun, but they should never take the place of our priority. And that's what I'm trying to ensure does not happen, that my priority has its place, and then whatever time is left, I used to, play around with all these interesting ideas that come to mind. In light of that, I began to do more work on trying to get my music out there. So I've got 3 songs which are slated to be released next month and in May. So 2 of them in April and 1 in May. The first 2 are studio versions of live songs that I already released, and the third one is a new single. So if you're interested, go to my music channel and subscribe so you know when these songs are released. For the first song, the lyric video is ready and I created that myself. Yeah. Well, wasn't that big of a task really, but it's a process I really enjoyed because I've got these, I don't know, should I be talking about this here or on my music channel? Well, I'm here, so I'll just talk about it. I've got these slideshows of pictures and they sort of follow the flow of the lyrics. I mean, the meaning of the words. All the images are AI generated using Midjourney, which is another thing I enjoy spending my time doing. I absolutely love playing around with Midjourney and, creating AI generated art. Midjourney is one of the AI tools that really help boost my creativity, and it's probably my favorite. By the way, if you're interested in knowing more about the AI tools that help boost my productivity, and maybe more specifically about one of them, you can just let me know in the YouTube comment section and I will try to make a video about that. So the summary of all I've said is that you should not forget your priority. And yes, from time to time, you will have to redirect your energies to make sure that you are doing what you should be doing at that moment. And, I said before, I've done this over and over again. Maybe I'm not using the right system yet and I will eventually get there. But what I find in my case is that because I get excited about new ideas, I often just have these moments where I've got a ton of ideas and I'm trying to sort through all of them. Now, in those moments, I might get a little bit off balance, maybe because I start giving more time to these other activities. But at the end of the day, I always have to place my priority on top. I've also been looking more into systems that can help me maintain the amount of time I give to certain activities. But it's just that sometimes my priority changes slightly. Well, not the priorities, but how much time I want to allocate. New things come up and you feel maybe for this time period, I want to give more attention to this just to experiment. So because I do a lot of experimentation, sometimes things are not stable. What I would recommend is first having a steady system or structure, which is what I try to do. And then if you want to play around with that, that's good. But trying to do things on a whim is usually not the best. That being said, if I begin to implement any of these ideas that I've had over the past month or that I will have in the future, I will be sure to let you know. And concerning the podcast, I've got an interesting guest interview coming up on next week's episode. I really think you'll find that useful. So please tune in, watch, listen. And if you think it's really applicable, then please share, because there might be someone who just really needs to hear that. Once again, if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel, hit that notification button so you get an alert every single time a new episode is out. In addition, I've got my monthly newsletter where I share tips for living a productive life and keep you up to date on what's going on with my music, podcast, blog, and everything else. Well, that has been it for today's chill episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and please leave a comment. Just let me know your general thoughts on the ideas that I shared in today's episode. Well, it wasn't that much of a knowledge sharing episode, but I hope you found it interesting and engaging either ways. Thank you for listening. I wish you all the best. Stay happy, stay healthy, and see you in the next episode. Bye.